Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We're sitting here just a few days before Rosh Hashanah, before we enter into Shnat Tafshin Pei Hey. And I want to give us all a kavanah as we enter into Rosh Hashanah, as we enter into the day of Tkiyat Shofar, the days of Tkiyat Shofar. And I want to start off with a story from the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov tells the following story of a king and his son. And the king's most beloved son, as much as he loves growing up in the palace, he wants to go out and he wants to see the world. He asks his father for the support to leave his home, to leave the palace, to leave the kingdom, and go explore. Lo and behold, the son goes out, explores the world, explores the multiplicity of human experiences all over the course of the planet. And he loses his way. The son loses his way. He gets engrossed in different cultures that he didn't want to be involved in. And he feels far away from home. At some point he realizes that he wants to go back. He wants to return home. But he's been so deeply engrossed in the world around him that he's forgotten his way physically, he's forgotten his way spiritually, and he even forgot the language of his hometown. And Baal Shem Tov describes the son going step after step, finding his way back home, uncovering the different layers of the ways that he went, and finally he ends up back in the kingdom, back in his father's domain. And yet, he still doesn't know the language. He doesn't know the language of his father's hometown, of his hometown. He's trying to convince the people, talking in all different types of words, all different types of languages, to try to convince them that he is the son of the king. He gets closer and closer to the palace, still unable to fully articulate his point. Finally, he reaches his father, and he just screams out one loud scream, hoping that his father, even without understanding the content of the language within which he's speaking, that his father will be able to uncover the voice of his son. And there will be able to be a union between father and son again, to recognize his son's voice and include him back inside the family, inside the palace. I think one of the beautiful things about Chassidut is that in addition to their beautiful stories and the beautiful Torahs, Chassidut offers us an opportunity to translate the world that we live in and the way we experience our lives in a divine language, in a language that allows for us to tell the story of our lives through the vision of our relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu and with God. And the Baal Shem Tov here is talking about what happens when a child becomes distant from their parent. A child feels like their experience in the world is one in which their parent is no longer present. Their parent is far away. They haven't seen their parent's face in a while. And in many ways, that's been the experience of this past year. The year of Tafshin Pei Dalet has been a challenging one. It's been a year of Hester Panim, as the rabbis say, a year of the divine face that feels distant. And so the question is, what type of kavanah can we go into Rosh Hashanah thinking and feeling? How can we think about the dynamic in our relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah? The Baal Shem Tov offers us a beautiful story, a beautiful mashal for thinking about the Tkiyas Shofar. On some level, it's not about language, it's not about the culture, it's not about the feeling of distance. There's something about the very, very raw voice of a child that a father will recognize. A raw voice of a child that will evoke from the parent, will evoke from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the panim, the face, and the bracha, and the chesed that we so yearn for. And in some ways, the Tkiyas Shofar, in that sense, is the deepest and the most raw voice of the Jewish people, yelling out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and blowing the shofar out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in order to evoke from the most basic and original point of view the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. And so we enter into Rosh Hashanah. It's been a tough year, it's been a challenging year, it's been a year of Hester Panim. And we hope that the shofar, the Tkiyas Shofar, can in some way function as the rawest voice of Am Yisrael, screaming out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in order to achieve some form of chesed and some form of connection and some form of panim that we so deeply yearn for. Just share one more idea. The Ma'or Vashemesh is a beautiful Torah. He talks about the relationship between the Tkiyah, which comes on either side of the Truah, and the Truah in the middle. Truah in the Gemara is described as a cry, all different forms of crying. The Truah, the Shvarim, one form of crying. The Truah, as we know it, as another form of crying. And the Maor Hashem says that the Tkiyah, the simple voice that comes on either side of the Tshuva, is a hamtaka. It's a sweetening of the cry. And so we enter this Rosh Hashanah, we pray that in some way we should have a sweetening. We should have a sweetening, maybe we'll also be zocheh to eat apple and honey and have a sweetening in our mouths, and Mirz Hashem have a sweetening in the world as we experience it. A little bit of panim, a little bit more chesed as we enter into a new year of hitchachut, and Mirz Hashem, the Tkiyat Shofar should allow us to be zocheh for a beautiful year ahead. Shana Tova to everyone.